Hi everybody, this is Michelle with Stampin' Butterfly. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am excited to share one of our new kits that Stampin' Up! Came out with this month in July, and it is called, let me double check, Birthday Fancy Kit. And this kit is slightly different than our usuals. It'll make 12 cards, but they give you instructions for 3, exactly how to do it, and then they have a picture of the remaining cards, or it's a create at your own adventure kind of thing. So you can mix and match all the pieces. So I've gone ahead and created some of the cards. I thought we'd create a few together, and then I also did some creating with extra pieces that they gave you in the kit. So they give you a good bit of extra labels and some other birthday cakes and stuff. So you're able to create some other fun cards on your own, and you can always mix and match, and you don't have to copy their picture at all. So I thought it was a great time to come on and share this kit with you, and let's take a quick look. So drop me a hello if you're here, and please let me know if you have any questions along the way. This kit is available right now for customers as well. So we do get to pre-order sometimes, but the kits go live for everybody at the same time, and they always come in these cute little boxes. So you'll see you can re-gift these and use them for other things. These are 2 of the cards in the kits. They have some gold foiling. So these are 2 that they give you instructions for, and we'll be assembling another one as well. So we'll put those together. And I'll show you all the cards all at one time, but let's take a quick look at what's in the box, because there is a lot going on. And I've already spent the time to kind of pop it apart. So these are all the different cards you'll get. So when you read the instructions, there are 3 different card bases. So there's the, let's pull it out. There's like this petal pink stripe. There's the Lost Lagoon light blue polka dotted, and then there's a gold dot, which, let's see. Here's a card with that one, a gold dot base. And then also I added some gems of my own, so I'll talk a little bit about that and what things might coordinate for you if you wanted to jazz it up even more with a little extra bling. So these are the different cards, and I numbered them. So these are the instructions that are in the card kit. So that's number 1, number 2, and number 3. And then the rest you can copy from here. And they go through, and whenever they give you a kit, you get all your components. So we'll walk through what comes in the kit. But when you look at the instructions, they tell you which pieces go to which card, and then they do a step-by-step this way. All right, so this kit comes with a block. It comes with some tear tape, so you could use your liquid glue, or you could use the tear tape they provide. And there are also some glue dots in there. They give you an ink spot. So the ink in this one is Lost Lagoon, one of my faves. And then a super cute stamp set. And they always give you a printout. Here we go. So, here's the printout that tells you all the different sentiments that are in there. And they're all happy birthday, so they're all geared around that. And then there's a huge sheet of dimensionals. I think this is the most I've ever seen in a kit. So you can go crazy in here, popping up all the pieces of your cards. And then this is kind of the crafter math. So these were all the different components and cake pieces and labels and things. So I wanted you to see how many sheets. I didn't throw these out yet. Although some people do create things, so you might be able to create stuff with these or stencils. But these are how many different parts were in there. As well as, oh wait, there's some extra labels still at the bottom. We get some polka dotted gold foiling envelopes too that coordinate with them. And you can always cut those apart. They aren't decorated on the inside, but you could use the flap for a card base. We've done that before in some of my videos. And then these are all extra labels in here as well. So these are some extra pieces I didn't use even with my additional card pieces that I've done. All right, so I think we're just gonna throw that aside. Those are gonna be trash. We'll put the envelopes back in here, and then we'll go ahead and assemble a few of the cards together. So here's a sneak peek of 2 more cards that you can create. And again, if I angle them, you can kind of see the gold foiling on some of the pieces. And then some of them you can glue flat, and then some you pop up with the numerous dimensionals that they give you. All right, so we'll just set these aside. I did kind of marry up my pieces, so you didn't have to watch me sort through all of the different pieces and parts. So we'll go ahead and put this card together. So we're going to fold our card base in half. I have a bone folder somewhere. Here we go. So we're just going to give that get a little crease. And let's see what's reflecting. Let's move that out of the way. See if that helps you guys a little bit. Alrighty. So we're going to need our block. And let's see, this card that I pulled together is a polka dotted card base. And I didn't really label which ones they were. Oh, it has this banner. So this is the one we're going to put together. So this one doesn't have the instructions. We're just going to go based on the picture. And again, you can change it in any manner you like. So it's kind of going to go like that. We have a piece there. And this cake is all glued together. Love that. Some of the other ones you'll see are all separate pieces. And then we have a little teacup already in there. So this must be an extra one, or it goes to another card. And then let's see. This must be extra from something else too. Ooh, I can make more cards. And then we have our sentiment. And this one we are going to use time to celebrate. All right, so whenever you're doing these, your all-inclusive kits will come with everything you need. So we're just going to pull off the sentiment. And again, we could change them out however we like. Get a little scrap paper in here. We'll go ahead and stamp our sentiment, and then we'll assemble the card. So we'll do 3 maybe. We'll see how time goes. All right, let me just make sure. I forgot to check if I'm live in there. I think I am, so drop me a hello. Okay, so we're going to just use our ink spot. I've already cut the lid off of it, and then I've already kind of seasoned my stamps because I've used them. So what you can do is there's usually a piece of cardboard. You can stamp a couple of times on your cardboard. You can use a white eraser and then clean it on your chamois and then ink it up. And then you can also just stamp off a couple of times on your scratch paper to make sure you've got nice clean images. Because sometimes there's manufacturing dust. So when you first get your photopolymers, they may not ink perfect. So you want to do some of those steps and test it on your scratch paper. All right, so now we're going to just stamp that up and down. And that looks pretty good. Now remember, there's 2 sides, so if I did it crooked or I didn't like it, I could flip it over and stamp on the other side. All right, so let's move those guys out of the way. We'll go ahead and assemble our card. Now we can decide how many dimensionals and how much do we want to pop up. So in their image, it looks like some of those pieces are flat and then the cakes just were popped up in the sentiment. So I think we'll go with that too. And you can come play around too. You know, you don't want to make your card too thick that it's hard to mail, but that might be pretty to pop that up. And then this kind of hangs off. Let's see, do they go all the way to the top? They do. So I think we're going to glue it flat though. And I'm just going to go with my liquid glue. Actually, I'll just show you how to use the tape real quick in case you want to use the tape. I find the liquid glue easier. Sometimes it's faster. So there's 2 ways you can use your tear tape. If you want to be precise, you could kind of stick it down, go to the edge, and you can tear it like the name suggests, or you can cut it with your scissors if you want it to be exactly right in a straight line. But no one's going to see it. So you can do it that way, or you can just kind of guesstimate and then tear it here and then stick it down. All right, so now you want to burnish it onto your card pretty well, and then you want to just peel it off. Now I have fingernails, so I'm able to kind of get under there and grab it. If you don't, you can use your little piercing tool or your take your pick tool to kind of get under there, or even a tip of a scissors. All right, so we're going to glue this one down right there. And then I'm going to switch back to my liquid glue because it's easier. So we're going to add a little glue on here. Little goes a long way, and if you get too close to the edges, it might ooze out, so you don't want to do too much of that. All right, I'm just going to indent it a little bit. Put it there. There's no right or wrong. Remember, this is your card, so you can change it however you like. I'm just trying to follow the instructions a little bit. I don't like that piece sticking out of there too much. I'm going to slide it down a little. All right, now we can go to town with all of our dimensionals. Oh, and our sentiment. All right, so we're going to put 1 on the cake, 2, I know I'm all over the place, 2 on the sentiment. With this cake is big, we're going to give him 2 dimensionals. And then across the bottom, we can probably go with 3. And you kind of want to make sure you're not overhanging the edges. Now this stem is kind of long, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just use my scissors and trim up one of the edges. So you can always trim the outside edges of your dimensionals. And then we hope it fits. If not, we smush it in like that. So these come together pretty quickly and you get a ton of gorgeous cards in this kit. So I made, I think, 3 additional cards. One I used just some of the components and then a new card base. And then 2 of them I cut a card in half, and I'll show you that. Okay, let's see, it's kind of in the middle-ish, about there. That seems good, kind of like it overhanging the edge. And then we're going to go ahead and do our sentiment. And like I said, this one doesn't come with gems, but there's a few options that we have in the store. This is a strawberry slush in here. I didn't tell you what the coordinating colors were. Darling Duckling, Fresh Freesia, Lost Lagoon, Petal Pink, and Strawberry Slush and Gold. So there are some gems, which I didn't order yet, that are Strawberry Slush, and I think they'd be great on this card. But I have a couple other packs that I do have on hand, and I'll show you kind of which ones they are. All right, so there's card number 1. All right, now let's take a look at card number 2. This one is in the instructions, and I ended up stamping it accidentally when I was putting them together. I wanted to save one so I could kind of show you how the instructions go. And then this is actually, I cut a card in half. So they normally come like this, and I cut it in half and I put it on a white base because I wanted to make some extra cards. So that's why this one has a white back. All right, so let's take a look at the instructions that they give us for this guy. All right, so this is card number 2 example, and it talks through here all the different pieces you need to gather for your card and your sentiment, which, like I said, I already did that guy. So then we're gonna flip to the actual instructions, and they give you pointers on which adhesive to use. So for instance, our frame, they just used a couple little glue dots in the corners. So the little black dots or the gray dots mean glue dots, which are these guys. And let's get those out because we're going to need them. And then you'll see these little hexagon shaped things, and those are dimensional. So they'll show you which ones go with the dimensionals and which ones are going to go flat. So like this cake will be flat. This guy will pop up the sentiment, and then some of the teacups and things will, and they're going to layer on like that. So we're going to put our frame on first, and then we'll layer in our pieces and then finish it up. All right, so we don't really need to stamp, but since I'm using some glue dots, let's do this so I don't end up with sticky stuff on my bottom here. All right, now these glue dots are really big. If you have some of the older kits, different paper pumpkins, there's lots of different sizes in the glue dots. So I'm going to kind of stick it there, but we may end up, liquid glue would work really well too. So we could probably try that if we wanted. If you just did a really fine line. Let's take a look and see how much overhangs. So when you peel this off, you can see it overhanging, so we can just use our take your pick tool to kind of roll the dot out of the circle so it doesn't peek over the edge. And then same thing with this guy. You could use our fingernails too. This one's in this little hole right here, so we kind of want to pull it back. Now another method I like to do, and let's see if they cooperate for this, is to grab the glue dot, put it on my finger, take off the backing, and then kind of roll it. And then you can kind of stick it on there. Sometimes it makes it a little lumpier though, and it sticks to my fingernail. So that's another method we could do, but let's just stick with the flat ones. So go ahead and put that on there. And then I'll show you with the liquid glue, you could just put tiny, tiny dots on there. So just use whichever method works for you. There's no right or wrong. So if you wanted to use your liquid glue, you could just get a tiny little fine line and dab it in a couple tiny places. Like my glue's coming out really fast, more than I wanted. But let's see. This side seems a little thicker, so yeah, you can have some glue. Glue dot works well. As you can see, it's stuck to my finger. Let's get our card base in here real quick. And it is just going to be centered on the front. All right, come on, get off my finger. There we go. So, just want to do that the best you can. And you can see like my finger is sticking over here, so one of the glue dots is kind of peeking out a little bit. So you can come back in later and kind of, you know, push them back underneath. All right, so there's our frame. So now let's take a look. So this guy, let's lay him out first. So he's going to be here. There's a cake here. Another cake overlapping here. Sweetest birthday wish is over there. And then we have another cake. Oh, maybe those little pieces. That's what those were for. This card. Goodness, this card has a lot of pieces. Those random ones that were on my last card. So lots of pieces in this one. Again, if you don't want to put all these tons of stuff on there, you can save them and use them for another card too. Yeah, this one kind of goes crazy town. All right. So we know the sentiment is two-dimensional, so we'll get him set up. And some of these cakes are dimensional. This cake is a dimensional, so we'll give you 2 there. This guy is a dimensional. Gosh, look at all the dimensionals on these cards. All right. We could put a little piece in the stem if we wanted. Let's do that. Well, that guy definitely is. Oh, he's going flat. Yay. So I don't have to worry about that guy. All right. So we're just going to cut a little piece off of here. And drop that in. And let me see if anybody has any questions. And all right. So I think those are dimensional. Our little teacup is a dimensional as well. I don't know why I stuck them so far away. The next card, don't worry, it doesn't have as many pieces. A lot of them are like glued together like the one card we saw. Okay, these guys get a dot. Pink one, okay, orange one gets a dot. They kind of overlap over each other. So we do a dot and a dimensional. And I know when I did some of mine, I spaced them different and they didn't always fit. So you can, you know, leave pieces out or scooch them around. All right. Again, you can do the glue dots or the liquid glue, whichever you like. Where's my glue dot? There they are. And this guy has a glue dot. Let's see this one. Glue dot. Lots of glue dots on here. And like I said, you could use your liquid glue too, or your tape. All right, so let's start with our biggest cake off to the left. Now I gotta peel all these tiny backs off. And again, you can use your scissors for this too. All right, this one's inside a little bit. Looks like it overlaps just a little. And then, yeah, my card base is thick because I swapped it out. A little teacup over here. That's cute. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Then we're going to add another cake. Okay, we need some room for these little dudes in here. All right, so let's do these. We'll just work one by one. All right, so this kind of goes there. And another little circle. I'm not sure what these are. They're fancy pastry cakes, I guess, maybe. All right. And might be French pastries. Okay, so this one kind of goes behind it a little bit. Probably should have glued that one down first if I wanted to be exactly like the picture and then put that over the top, but it's okay. Got this cake. Oh wait, we got a little short fat cake we got put in there. This one has a lot of pastries. Okay. So this one's gonna go there. And this one can go here. Look how cute that is. See, my dimensional sticks out a little, so you can just kind of bend them in. Could also trim it a little skinnier too. All right. See, it's kind of straight. Ooh, that guy looks crooked. Oh boy. Trying to pick up our side of our cake. All right, I think that looks okay. And then we're gonna add our sentiment. Sweetest birthday wishes. And my cakes are coming over further than the other ones. So we're gonna go ahead and just tear off part of this dimensional. We don't need that one. And let it overlap a little bit. Or we could put it up here too. So different ways we can do it. We could peel this guy up and scooch him over more, but I think we're just gonna go with this guy right here to the edge, which is pretty close to the original card. All right, what do you guys think? Isn't that pretty? All right, so now card number 3. This one is not in the instructions, so again, we'll flip back to the picture. And it is striped, and it has a bunch of cake in a blue background. So it's this one right here, and we're gonna stamp "Let's Eat Cake" on this bottom piece. And then what's nice, look at this one, they're all glued together. Woohoo! Not too much work on that one. All right, fold our card base in half. And then I've completed all the other cards, so we'll just flip through those together. All right, let's get a new, wow, I got a lot of dots everywhere. Trying to scooch those out of the way. Let's see, do we want to, lots of different things fit on here, but there's so many cakes, I think that's cute. Let's eat cake. Alrighty. And we'll go ahead and use our little ink spot. And test it there. That looks really good. It looks like they went pretty far to the edge with it. All right, so we'll do the same thing. We're going to ink it up. And now when you push these down, some of the E's are really small, so you're not going to want to push too hard. Like, you want your ink to transfer, so let it set for a second. But if you push really hard, you could end up closing up your E's a little bit because the photopolymer does bend a little. So it gives you a little more breathing room, and then you could also bend the stamp. So if you wanted a curved shape or something, it gives you more flexibility on some of these. All right, so we could do the tear tape on here. Let's go ahead and do that. Could have done my liquid glue. Let's hope that I line it up evenly. The liquid glue I like because it gives me wiggle room. Otherwise, we shall see. All right, so we're going to push it all the way to the left corner and then to the bottom and across. And a lot of times when I have my liquid glue, I like to do it like this so I know it's even. And this side looks like it's up just a tiny bit. So that looks good. Uh-oh. Was I supposed to put this on first? Where's my picture? Whew, no, I think I'm okay. So we could still put it like that, and then this covers up. All right, I think we're good. We're in business. All right. Again, there's no right or wrong, so you can make your card however you like. Now, if you decide, hey, I didn't like that color blue background, instead of gluing this side, you can use your sponge daubers or your brushes and change the color of this one and use this side instead and glue on that side. But we are just following what they're doing, so we'll go with that. Looks pretty even. And then our big pack of dimensionals. Here we go again. All right. So We can put on as many as you like. And have a handy trash can around because you're going to have a lot of backings floating everywhere. Whoa. Let's see. That one's good there. That fits right there. Ooh, that fits right there in the macaroons. I feel like I need a little something here. So let's cut a long skinny one. Right there. And look how many dimensionals I still have left. Goodness. It's good stuff. All right, that seems pretty good. He's a long stem there, so I feel like I need something for him. Let's get the skinny side. And let's see if it fits or if I've got to trim off the little pointy piece. I think it'll work. All right, perfect. All right, so we will go ahead and peel off all our backings. We have lots of them. I have seen people color this with like a highlighter, and then that way once they put it on their card base, if you see it like pink highlighter, you know you didn't peel off the backing, because sometimes it's hard to tell if you took the sticky back off or not. I kind of try to look at an angle in the light to see if they all look sticky, to know if I grab them all. And then we're just going to line it kind of across the bottom, like right where the two meet. And could go to a little more this direction if we wanted. Let's see, kind of center it on there. Before I push it down, I think that looks pretty good. All right, look at that. Let's eat cake. Now there's a lot of great sentiments you can also stamp on the inside of your card, because there's happiest birthday, sending you happy birthday wishes for you, wishing you another year as sweet as you, time to celebrate, sweetest birthday wishes, and let's eat cake. So lots of great birthday sentiments for the inside and the outside. All right, so that's the last card we needed to design, or actually just assemble. Let's move some stuff out of the way so I can share all of these fun cards with you. All right, so let's take a look at what we've created tonight. So these are the three that we made. Oops, they're a little crooked. But so these are the ones that we've just created. Okay, lots of different layers. You could have popped up every cake if you wanted to. My teacup. All right, there we go. He's a little crooked. And then this one's got the square background. Again, you've got some pretty cakes. And then that one. All right, so I know we looked at a few of these in the beginning, but I'm just going to go through the whole pile because I don't remember if we've seen them, which ones we've seen. So here's a couple more. And then we've got this one, and it's got this little banner on there with the dots, and a blue one. This one's kind of cute. The banner kind of tucks in under here, so don't put a dimensional behind there. I did initially. I had to like tear it out of there. And then the little flag part, there's a little strawberry peeking out there, which is cute. If you didn't want to cover your cakes, you could always put your sentiment across the top or stamp down here like we did on some of the other ones, so you could see the full front of your cakes. And then this one, they designed it with just a cake, and I felt like it was a little naked, so I put the extra strawberries I had on top of that one. I popped them up, and I added some gems to that one. So there were 2 packs of gems I had handy that seemed like they coordinated pretty well, because I don't have the strawberry slush ones. These are called low profile dots, and they have petal pink and gold, so they're perfect for this kit if you wanted to buy those to add on. And then these are the antique pearls, and they look pretty on the blue card. I'll show you that in a minute. So I put those on just to kind of snazz it up. I felt like this one was good. It has lots of dots going on, right? All the gold foil. But this one didn't have any foiling, so I felt like it needed some extra dots. Now this one is slightly different than the original card. So where's our instructions? So this card was supposed to have "for you" at the bottom, and then the tag with the cake. And so what I did is I felt like it needed a little pop-up, so I used a blending brush and some Lost Lagoon ink, and I put some right behind that cake. You can kind of see the shadowy blue. And then I changed the sentiment because I didn't want the for you on here. And then this is one of the card bases I cut up. So I trimmed it to 5 1/4 by 4, and I just put it on a regular white card base. So that blue card split into 2. All right, now this card is just a white card base. And again, here's the other piece of that card. I kept it whole. And then this was one of the frames. You saw it on this card over here where you pop it out. And I liked the outside trim, so I actually kept it whole and went together with that and made a little frame with that. And then I used that same kind of tag here. Did the blending brush, but I trimmed it shorter, so you can see it's a little bit shorter than the last one. And then we put the pie on here, and I think I borrowed the flowers from one of these other cards because it needed a little something, and the card had like 7 pieces on it. And then these are the antique pearls. They look really pretty on there with that. And then we have this one. Oh, I think I have a couple more to show you. Yeah, they're over here. So this is an alternative as well. So again, I cut that blue card base in half and I glued it on a white. These were all extra pieces in the kit that weren't used in any of the cards. And then I used our dotted embossing folder on the dot paper. And it looked kind of cool, and I lined up all the circles. And then again, they gave us lots of extra sentiments for that. So that's an alternative. So these are the totally like alternatives from extra pieces. So you can get total new cards out of. And then this is the third one. So what I did on here is these are all extra pieces again. I trimmed down that flag because it's really long if you look over here. So I just cut it down. And then I liked the way the color shines through the little dots here. So I put it on a Lost Lagoon card base. And then I stamped happiest birthday, wishing you another year as sweet as you, and one of the extra teacups in there. And this says let's eat cake. So those are my 3 alternatives with the extra little goodies they give you in the kit. And then this is another one of the 12 cards that is designed as they show you in the kit. Like I said, it makes so many cards. And then this one, they had, I think, for you stamped right over here. And I don't usually use for you on my cards, so I put this one, but I felt like the spacing was off, so I gave it a bunch more gold dots from that one set, the low profile set I showed you. So that one's very blingy because you got a lot of gold foiling everywhere. All right, and then we saw that one, so I guess we can lay them all out and overlap them. But look at all of those cards you can make from this one kit. So it's a huge value. You've got your stamp set you can reuse later. You have an ink spot you can reuse, and you saw I had some tags still left in my box. So it is just a lot of fun, and one day you can put it all together. It doesn't take too long. Let me see, I'm going to grab a few things off of here. And let's see, I think that's about it for this kit. Now, if you look online, we have tons of kits available. Every month we come out with 2 or 3. So you can check back at the beginning of each month, and there's some new kits. We also have a pop-up pals that came out this month, and it's super cute. So when you open it, I should have brought them over. They're across the room. But when you open it, they have little pop-up, like there's a monkey and his little hands go out. And there's a unicorn. So I did put that kit together, and I ordered a second one so I can do a video a little bit later for you guys to show you how to fold those pieces inside. So it's a great card to give to kids. If they're origami kids, then they can probably figure out how to fold it as well. So that's just something fun to think about. Anyway, I'm glad you guys could join me tonight, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions. Bye-bye.